Let's get philosophical. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Force Fandom. My name is Jeremy, and this is a channel for regular fans who love Star Wars. If that's you, hit the like button and let's jump in. Now, it's not every day that I jump into philosophy. Pretty much every day I jump into theology because of my job, but when we're talking about Star Wars, it got me thinking that I think there's a reason, one reason in particular that we're going to talk about today, why Star Wars fans are never going to fully agree, particularly the fans that are the George Lucas Star Wars fans versus the Disney sequel trilogy Star Wars fans. The people that will either say, hey, everything Disney has made, I've just loved all of it. Give me more Rey, give me more Acolyte, give me more everything. Yes, even Boba Fett. Well, maybe that's where they would draw the line. I don't know, because that's not me. But then there's also the others, the George Lucas Star Wars fans, those that might even recognize some of the issues of the prequels, but say, hey, those original 6 films, that's canon. And that's what we talk about when we're talking about Star Wars. In fact, some of these new things that have been brought in aren't even Star Wars. They're not the same thing. They are different. And I think there's a reason why we are never going to have unity in what we're talking about, because the ship of Theseus. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's quite okay. Listen to Vision from WandaVision. I know you probably didn't watch it. That's fine. But I think that this is the most interesting way to think about it.
You are familiar with the thought experiment, the ship of Theseus, in the field of identity metaphysics?
Naturally. The ship of Theseus is an artifact in a museum. Over time, its planks of wood rot and are replaced with new planks. When no original plank remains, is it still the ship of Theseus?
Secondly, if those removed planks are restored and reassembled free of the rot, is that the ship of Theseus?
Neither is the true ship. Both are the true ship.
Well, then we are agreed.
And here is the paradox. Both have a case, right? Because in the case of Disney Star Wars, what have they been doing from the moment they purchased Lucasfilm? They've been replacing plank after plank with their new, shiny, more favorited plank. They've been replacing character after character, storyline after storyline. They even tried to make a sequel trilogy as an homage to the first instead of just continuing a different story. While at first we all kind of fell for the nostalgia and the member berries, it quickly wore off for us to realize what was actually happening. Everything was just being replaced, upgraded, trying to be made new so that the ship could continue for years and years and years to come, instead of realizing that that might not have been the right thing. So while there's many that will say after all of these planks have been replaced, Luke Skywalker's gone, Leia's gone, Han is gone, all of these things, and this is why you're going to get things like people saying at Lucasfilm the only person they have in the canon to use going forward is Rey, because they've taken out all of the other planks. She's the only plank they've put in, and that's exactly the case. That's why we're getting a Mando Grogu movie, because they have nothing else to go off of. And so you will have the George Lucas Star Wars fans saying, hey, you've replaced all of these planks. This isn't Star Wars anymore. And they're right. It's not. It's not Star Wars anymore. But then you have the Star Wars Disney fan yelling and screaming and saying, wait, this is exactly Star Wars. They've done everything just like it, and it is just the same as it's always been. It has the same storylines, the same characters, just new. This is Star Wars. And technically, they're right also. So this is the paradox we're in. However, there is one solution, and one solution only, to this paradox. And especially, and again, I think this is the only solution when you think of it here, is to not have two separate ships. But I think the only way to restore the ship and keep its true identity is to not replace the parts that you think are broken, but to try to fix it all together using that material that was originally created. I think the best case, and again, this can be debated, but based on my perspective, the best case philosophically and moving forward for Disney is to recognize what is the core ship of Star Wars, going back to its roots of what really was there, and then building from that using that canon. In effect, looking at what they've done, having to rip out these new planks, get rid of them, destroy them, burn them forever in the hellfire that is Mustafar, and move forward. What does that mean? That means the thing that Disney will never do, which is just deleting the sequel trilogy and saying, okay, we misunderstood, we didn't get it, we thought we could replace these planks and move forward with a Star Wars made in our own image. And in so doing this, they've just ignored the actual identity and true heart of what Star Wars is. And this is why Star Wars fans will still remain divided no matter what Disney does, because they're never going to do that. They're never going to stick with just one ship. It's their goal to make a new ship and try to sell it as the old ship. But this is the inherent problem. We know it's different. It's not the same. But yet it's the same, but it's not the same. And this is the paradox. And this is the problem. So, thanks for being here and getting a little philosophical with me. Let me know what you think down below. Is there a way forward that doesn't include just deleting the sequel trilogy and everything Disney era and starting afresh? I think that's where we're at. I don't think there's another way forward, but I'm also kind of super pessimistic because they're not going to do that. So let me know what you think. This was just a fun little thought experiment. And if you have any other philosophical ideas, particularly about Star Wars, let me know down below. Would love to investigate those further. Guys, thanks for being here. If you enjoyed this type of video, a little bit different, but I thought fun still nonetheless, let me know down in the comments below. And remember, the Force will be with you always.